After a major lull in home buying due to high interest rates and even higher inflation, is it finally time for some good deal hunting? With investor purchases dropping and mortgage rates falling for the third straight week and home price gains slowing, buyers are prepped and ready to jump back into the housing market with less competition. Plus, mortgage giants raise loan limits, the Fed kills home prices, all while millennials are still shut out of the home market. All that and more as we test our market IQ on This Week in Real Estate. Yay! Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us on today's live show of This Week in Real Estate. My name is Ray. This is Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
And this is our 211th show / podcast. So
wow.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you're looking for us online, we're broadcasting in 4 different locations. So we're on YouTube, Facebook, had a little bit of a Facebook snafu today. I'll explain it in a second. We're also on Clubhouse and what I leave out, YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse, and LinkedIn there. So thank you guys for joining us wherever you're joining us from. If you want to, you can comment on the show and then we can share your comment and talk about you or your comment. Just like Olivier said, he said before Matt LaMarche, boom. So it is a bit of a competition. We try to publish this the day of. Actually, what I would really love to do, Dan, is to be able to publish the show like a couple of days before. So we have but it's so difficult to predict exactly what we're going to talk about because some of the numbers don't come out until Tuesday or Wednesday. So,
well, dude, and I saw by the way, just a little insight into today's show. Do you have the thumbnail up? You want to show them real quick?
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm going to mute also. If you guys are hearing dings, I apologize. Yeah. I will bring up the thumbnail.
If you heard it in Ray's intro, he says, is it time for some good deal hunting? So if you've noticed, we always do some sort of play on a movie or something current that's going on. One of our best ever, you need to go watch it, was the Johnny Depp trial. That was fantastic.
Yeah, there was so much meta in the Johnny Depp trial where we talked about NAR being on court at the same time as the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing was going on. And YouTubers don't actually say their names anymore because they'll get like strikes and stuff because the AH is what they say in that world. That team goes after people that mention their name. So there you go.
Yeah. And then we had the slap heard around the world, but usually it's a movie. So just a little insight. We've had this one planned since I think since the market turned, right around March or April. We've had this one planned because we knew at some point, now we didn't know interest rates are going to go to where they were or where they are now, and now they've come back down. But we knew at some point there was going to be a little window. So last night
we're in the window.
There's a little window, and I was looking through stories like literally last night that they wouldn't have been there Monday or Tuesday during the day, and I was like, it's the time. It's time to go good deal hunting. So
yeah,
it's hard.
Which is interesting.
For what we do and put it out there because you see that on YouTube when you're scrolling through your subscriptions, right? You see scheduled for, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And they're talking about something very specific or something that's kind of pre-planned, or some of those scheduled shows, just so you guys know, are actually pre-recorded.
Oh yeah, 100%. They are. They want to premiere, and then it says streamed live, but it wasn't streamed live really. No, we get we are very, very up to date with our info. So up to date, in fact, that it hinders how we put together our show.
Yeah. So there were 2 articles that were added that were published today that we're going to talk about today. So, and speaking of, you heard in the intro everything we're going to talk about pretty much, but we are going to talk about some adjustments in the home prices, adjustments in the mortgage rates, what's happening with investors. And I really want to get some of your opinions about that. So they say that investors are pulling back from the market. That has not been my experience as a real estate agent. So I want to talk about those numbers. And if you're a real estate agent, especially one that works for investors, I want to know if they're pulling back or if they're actually charging forward more than ever. Because this article says is not what I've experienced.
Same, because that's what I was thinking is, okay, interest rates are down. Maybe it's going to be more competition for the investors because more buyers are going to jump back in the pool. But I didn't think they'd back out because, I don't want to, give away all the articles, but things are favoring the buy side at the moment a tiny bit. So
and we're going to talk about Airbnb. They launched a new thing So we'll go into that. NAR has changed to flood rule. If you guys missed that, that's big news for some of you that live in flood prone areas like mine. And then the Realtor brand is going on tour. So that's we're going to talk about the Realtor brand and what they're doing.
I didn't know this.
Very excited. Oh yeah. Oh, if you're an NAR member, it's time to get pumped.
You're gonna get a hot take from me.
Pumped. Jason Bates is already answering the question that I asked. He said now's the time to buy if you're renting, in my opinion. We'll look at that. I think there's some facts we can look at there. Yeah. Eric Daniels, he's over on Facebook. Thanks for joining us on Facebook. He says, I own real estate investment company. In January, we now call Opportunity. Yeah. And then Howard, he says, hey, gang from Israel. Hey, man.
And Matt, there's only one way to fix your the bad.
Yeah, he keeps coming in second. You got to pay attention, man. You got to be up on it. You got to turn on. So, Matt, if you don't have the notifications plus the bell turned on so that when you go live, you receive those notifications, or when we schedule it, you receive the notifications, I would strongly suggest you do that. That way you could be a part of the show instantly as soon as you get the notification. So
how do you think I would have been here first all those weeks? I mean, it wasn't my luck.
Now you actually got to be fast on it. You were getting the notification and lackadaisically going over there and being like, hey, but now you got to get the notification, jump on it. You got to go. But thank you all for joining us on the show. We'd love it if you'd share the show. If you're watching this on the replay, if you're not watching it live, you can still comment on the show and we will address your comments. We'll go down there and hash it out with you. If you disagree with this, or if there's something going on, you have a question, we'll be happy to answer it for you or find an answer for you. But you can also go to the description and there's all of the articles that we're going to talk about with a little timestamp. You can click that timestamp and zoom right to that part of the article so that you miss this much maligned banter here.
This much maligned banter. We got some more. Adam Johnson, rent is now cheaper than the average mortgage in his area. Renters
interesting
pulled back on purchasing. Adam, and again, remind everyone where you're at just so they know in case they need an agent in that area. I think he's in Wisconsin, right?
Adam Johnson?
Yeah. Is it Wisconsin or is it? I think it's Wisconsin. I'm gonna just
I have a terrible memory.
I know.
I always
let him
know. Olivier says rental market is on fire here. Lack of rent inventory.
Poor Matt. Minnesota. There you go.
Duluth, Minnesota. It was somewhere up there. Superior, Wisconsin.
Superior, Wisconsin. Does he mean it's superior to Wisconsin?
It's superior to, or that's the other market he's in.
The city. Yeah. But Matt, you got to really be feeling love today. So many people love you. They just get to talk cheese. They got to.
Yeah. There you go. Well, Dan, before we dive into these articles, I do have a hard out right at 1. So I got to leave right at 1.
Let's go.
Before we dive in, though, would you please tell people what this is all about as I sip my tea?
You know, I'd love to. Now, when I met Ray here on the internet about 5 years, oh, sorry, that was quickly. I met Ray here 2X. 5 years ago. I 2X'd myself, so you guys don't have to at home. We were trolling. We were essentially trolling real estates for a living at that point. We were doing remarkably well, and we kind of would always end up on the same thread. And we were like, And at the time, I had an idea for a show called Bearded Men of Real Estate, which is what we used to be called because I'm, in fact, a bearded man of real estate. And when I met Ray, I noticed something very interesting about him.
What's that, Dan?
He has not yet seen the fantastical, amazing show that is known as Wednesday.
I haven't, and I've been wondering about that. Is it that good?
Dude, it is fantastic. Not to give a free plug because we're not getting paid for any of this, but
you should.
It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Really? If you like kind of more dark humor, I wouldn't say it's for kids, maybe 12 and up, because it gets a little graphic from time to time, but it's a fantastic show. It's Tim Burton, Danny Elfman, and the same kind of, it's that vibey, and it is so well done. It's a twist on the Addams Family is what it is, and it's so good. So well done. Yeah.
I saw it advertised, and I thought this is something that I'd probably check out, but then I was like, well, only if they did it well, because there's also those that they try and it's just total fail.
I kind of expected it to be a little more of a poppy kind of version of it, like they kind of
or like way too dark the other way. Like
it balances the middle really, really well.
Okay.
So
Right.
But I was just going to watch it to see if it's something I could watch with my daughters. And I was like, I'm just in. Now I'm like 5 episodes in. I binged them last night and I stayed up till 1 a.m. But anyway, I digress. I obviously noticed that he's a beautifully bearded man, but I also noticed that he loves giving value up front to not only his clients, but just to humans in general. So the show is about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
Yeah. One of the ways we believe that you can be more is to know what in the world's going on, so that when your client asks, hey, what in the world is going on, you could tell them. So that's why we do this show. And also, what's funny, Dan, I saw 5 years ago in some of our first shows, we were about to dive in, and I was like, Dan, you want to tell people what this show is all about? And you were like, yeah. And you basically said the same thing that you say today. And I was like, yeah, we want to give, like, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But one of the primary reasons why we started this show is because Dan and I would have offline conversations about what was happening in the market. Yeah. And we would share news articles back and forth. And we were like, we should do a podcast and talk about this and see who else could join the conversation. So the big reason we do this show live is for you guys to join the conversation through comments, through even coming on here. We've had people that were commenting on the show, and we just sent them the link and they just joined. They just cammed up and here they are. And then you could also join the conversation on Clubhouse. So you could come up on stage. There's a couple of moderators that I have there that can kind of help control that and who's coming up. You have to have your profile filled out and your bio and all that stuff. We got to see that you're a legit person. But if you want to, you can come up and literally join the conversation through Clubhouse too. So thank you guys for joining us. And without further ado, let's get into the headlines. And you know how long ago that was that we started that, Dan?
Day one, wasn't it? Day one.
Yeah, it was, or it was like the within the first 3 shows.
It was 2017. It's been 5 years.
Wayne's World transition.
Yeah, and we always have said we're going to get it to where the transition's done and it's going to look much better. And other things have stepped up. Ray has a ton of technology to his right currently.
Yes,
but
we have all kinds of soundboards that's super sexy. So you don't want to miss that. And even just because I played that little clip, we're now banned in Russia. So if you ever want to make your show not show up in Russia, that's how to do it. You play.
They don't like Careless Whisper,
Careless Whisper, and they're like, nah, we are not having any of this.
Even the 2 seconds we played it.
I'm serious. We'll get a. It's not a copyright strike. It's when the country takes preference against you, because of everything.
Preference against you. That's a unique way of saying that.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want anyone to see these guys show because of Careless Whisper. That's what they do.
Taking preference against.
Taking preference against the sellers. The sellers are kind of taking preference against the market we're in right now, Dan. That's right. Home sales fell for the 9th straight month in October. Now, this article came out the week of Thanksgiving. So this, we didn't have a show. Was it last week that we didn't have a show? I feel like it was 2 weeks ago. It feels like forever ago.
No, it was last week.
Didn't have a show.
Yeah.
Okay. So home sales fell for the 9th straight month, which is kind of anticipated, right? Home sales declined. Sales of previously owned homes dropped 5.9% from September to October, according to the National Association of Realtors. The October reading is put the seasonally adjusted annualized price of 4.43 million units. The sales were 28.4% lower year over year. So almost 30% lower annually. Even as sales slow, supply is still stubbornly low. There are 1.22 million homes for sale at the end of October, a decrease of just under 1%, both month to month and year over year.
That part is concerning, where the inventory is kind of decreasing. Sellers are just like, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming that we had such a crazy time where everyone was selling, even if they didn't have to sell because they were making so much money, that had to adjust itself. And that's the 27% or whatever that number was. But also it's the winter, it's November and December. People are going to slow down anyway. So it's interesting to see. It's definitely interesting to watch.
Yeah, and the number that kind of surprised me here is always interesting when you look nationally, because here locally, I kind of know what our supply is, and especially in some specific cities. But Dan, if I asked you what you thought the supply was, the monthly supply of homes, we know it's a low inventory market. It's been low inventory for a long time. What do you think the months of supply are?
Nationally?
Yeah.
I would say we're at 3 months.
Okay. Well, somebody read the article.
No, I didn't. I swear. I did not.
Oh, you did? That's your guess?
No, I did
so
not.
it's a 3.3 month supply. So I'm always shocked by how high it is nationally, but then when you take into account all the slower markets and then you have the faster paced markets.
Well, and does that take into account new construction? Do you know?
Yeah, I would say so.
That's got to exacerbate that number quite a bit.
Well, it depends on when those people list. A lot of our builders here locally aren't listing until it's almost finished now. So, so then it's a legit number in those cases. You know, back in the day, 2 years ago, people were listing as soon as you cleared a lot and put a sign in the yard, you'd list it as a house and sell it and finish it 12 months later. The median price of an existing home sold in October was $379,000. That's an increase of 6.6% from the year before.
That's actually not that bad. That's with what it's been 17 and 19 and 24%. I mean,
it does say the gains are shrinking. So home price gains shrink.
Yeah.
Dusty Martin, she's in AZ. She says the number of sales in her MLS were down year over year 40%, sitting at 4.5 months of supply.
Wow.
So when you think it would be less months of supply, Dusty, isn't that interesting?
But she does the higher end stuff. She's probably talking over $1 million and a half. I'm guessing it's the luxury market, not her whole market, or maybe she said her MLS, so that's everything. That seems.
What's your average sales price, Dusty?
Hers is up there, but that is a stable market. That's a normal market, 4.5 months of supply, right?
I feel like that's a great market. I'd love to operate in that market.
Overall,
in October, 24% of homes received over the asking price offers. Conversely, homes sitting on the market for more than 120 days saw prices reduced by an average of 15.8%.
Oh, wow. Now, this was an article I didn't send Ray. I saw it, though, because it was on Housing Wire behind 800 paywalls for just silly stats. But it was a year ago, they were getting 101% of list price. Now we're at 99% to list price in the last month. So,
yeah, but it's still so close. Dusty says her average is like 900s, but before 2020 it was 350 to 450. Wow, there you go. Matt said in Atlanta they only have 2.1 months of supply. So yeah, again, major metro.
That's more what I would expect, because we're at about 2 months of supply around. Just
that's what it feels like in most markets. But I think whenever you start to look at the average days and how many homes have been sitting on the market a long time, people are kind of surprised by that. I just found a good home for a client the other day, and I was like, wow, this one looks really good. And it's not priced that far off. They just had a recent price drop. But then I looked at the days on market for that house, and it was over 30. It's like, whoa, this home's been sitting a while. Let's go under for that offer.
A while though, 30 days.
I know. Isn't that funny?
30 days.
Isn't that funny? For years, like I was selling properties faster in 30 days. And that was like a claim to fame. Like, hey, we can sell your home in 30 days or less. And people are like, whoa, that is so fast. And we're like, yeah, it is. And now they're like, no, it's so slow. What's wrong with the house?
Well, remember in 2012, our marketing was we'll sell your home in 88 days, which was like 13 or 16 days faster than the average in the area. 88 days was like awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you would think an area like Duluth or somewhere out in Wisconsin, Superior, Wisconsin would have longer days on market, way more inventory. Not the case. Mr. Adam Johnson said they have 67 active listings. That's less than a month of supply. And the current pending sales on market are 6 days.
That's how good Adam is. And by the way,
hot market, Adam. Hot market.
Olivier's, well, I mean, with people fleeing California and San Jose specifically, Krista.
Yeah.
You're watching, just kidding. There's people are looking to, I hear that chatter a lot from buyers and sellers is, I just can't afford California or don't want to anymore, or I've made a lot of money here and it's time for me to move on. That silver wave that I've been talking about is happening. But Olivier mentions USA seems to be lagging Canada. We were like that 3 to 4 months ago. You know where USA is not lagging California? In the World Cup. The USA.
I didn't know where you're going with that. That's so good. If the World Cup was on ice, Canada would be much more involved in the discussion.
They'd be up there. They'd be winning. But sorry, Olivia, I love you. I'm anytime I can take a step.
You know what else is on ice, Dan? mortgage rates.
Yeah.
That's bad. This is a bad one. It works.
I mean, yeah, they're down 47 basis points. That's good.
They're off. Mortgage rates fall for the third straight week, and drops even further. There's always a double. Anytime there's a good news headline, they always slide that like, but here's some bad news in this good news.
It's just
mortgage rates soared over 7% just a month ago, but since then they've fallen more than half a percentage point. Still, mortgage loan application volume decreased 0.8% last week compared with the previous week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association seasonally adjusted index. The results include an adjustment for the observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. The average contract interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage conforming balance decreased to 6.49% from 6.67%.
Yeah. So where is everyone predicting? We don't need to go through predictions now because we're going to do a prediction show we'll probably do it in 2 weeks. Maybe
probably 2 or 3. Yeah. 2 or 3 weeks. Probably it would in Christmas on Sunday this year.
It needs to check that's when I'm just not going to say that.
you don't even know.
You knew what I was going to say. I literally telepathed that to Ray 1,800 miles away from me.
I heard the joke even before the joke happened. I was like, that's not a good joke.
But yeah.
And then I shut it down telepathically.
Yes, Matt, go back to, and he did. I sent it to him. He said no on the way back. But Matt, yes, now that we are undefeated in the World Cup and going to the round of 16, the world is officially calling it soccer now. It's now soccer because
it is soccer.
We tied twice and won once. I mean, that's amazing. We've scored 1 goal or like 2 goals. So
yeah,
it's now soccer. But
it's been a big World Cup.
Ramsey, no, you are Ramsey, not Facebook.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, hey, buddy.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, yeah, Christmas is on Sunday, so that means I'll have to look at the calendar. We'll get out the calendar and figure it out. I usually like to do the prediction show before the first, so it'll probably be the week before Christmas that we'll do the prediction show.
Which could be that Wednesday technically, but I've been reading a ton of articles about all this stuff and interest rates and what the Fed is doing and all this stuff. So my prediction is going to be super dead on for next year. I'm predicting that my prediction will be good next year.
That's a good prediction. I'm going to predict that I'm not as far off as I was last year.
You're 100% right.
A very safe prediction in my scope. I really thought I would have a chance, but it turns out,
dude,
there's absolutely no chance.
I was super confident. They'd have to go down 2.5 points to get to my prediction.
Speaking of having a chance, you know who else has a chance? People looking to buy single-family homes. That's right. U.S. single-family home prices slow again in September. So we talked a little bit about the price drop earlier, but it's really a gain slow. It's not a value drop, I guess you could say.
Well,
but the S&P, the S&P Core Logic Case Shiller National Home Price Index dropped 0.8% month over month. Monthly housing prices fell in July for the first time since late 2018. Home prices rose 10.6% year over year in September, slowing from August's increase of 12.9%. So it's really a gain slow of 3%, right?
Right.
Oh no, 2% roughly.
You're gaining less right now, but you're still gaining.
The gain is 2.3% less than it was the previous month, but it's still gaining.
Right.
Yeah. And year over year.
So even if you bought a month ago, you're still gaining.
Yeah. The home is still worth more. It's just not at the same rate of speed. Instead of a hockey stick graph going up, it's like leveling out, going up.
Shout out to Olivier. There you go.
Oh, what Olivier? Did he say that? I'm sorry.
No. Just the hockey stick. Just the Canadian.
Oh, yeah, on ice. There you go. Yeah. Let's see. As the Fed continues to move interest rates higher, mortgage financing continues to be more expensive and housing becomes less affordable. Craig Lazara, managing director at S&P DJI, said in a statement, given the continuing prospects for challenging macroeconomic environment, home prices may well continue to weaken. Yeah, I mean, that's That's what I would say too. A separate report from the Federal Housing Finance Agency showed home price edged up 0.1% on a monthly basis in September after declining 0.7% in August. In the 12 months through December, prices climbed 11%.
Okay. Do you want to nudge one up? Do you know which one I'm talking about? Are you on the articles?
I am now. Yeah.
We should nudge that one up. That one right there. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Right under this one, because there's some numbers in there that go along with this, because it's interesting. I mean, this headline that Ray's about to read whenever we move on is staggering.
Yeah, we can move on now since I have a hard out in like 30 minutes. So
cool.
Let's see what's so staggering. All right, so here it is from Fortune.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Just
is Justin in?
Just go to Justin's comment. Boom. That's it. Everything right there. He just
Justin Conoco said, I agree with everything that was said.
There you go.
Justin.
Boom.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
By all participants on the Clubhouse, everywhere, on the YouTubes, on the Facebooks. No one's on LinkedIn right now, but they agree with everything. I appreciate it.
Anybody over there on LinkedIn, check in, say hi, so we know you're watching. All right, so this is the headline from Fortune magazine. Is it Fortune magazine if it's online? Probably not. It's just fortune.com. Is that a separate thing? Is fortune.com the same as Fortune magazine? Surely. Yeah. They have a magazine tab.
I think it is, but please don't call me Shirley.
Fed's housing market reset has officially set off the second biggest home price correction of the post-World War II era.
Okay, stop.
Hang on.
Right?
Yeah.
Post-World War II. World War II was in the 40s, right?
Last time I checked.
Okay, it hasn't changed, right?
Right.
World War I was still in the teens and then 40s. Okay. Post-World War II era. So that's coming out going to the 50s and 60s. I mean, that's 70 years. And it's the biggest dip, the biggest home price correction since that time in the last 70, 80 years. Okay.
Including 2008, 2009. Right. They're including that in this, right?
So just remember that as he reads these numbers.
Oh man. Do you have it? Do you happen to have it?
Yeah.
They just did the paywall on me.
Oh no.
It's one of those delayed paywalls.
All right.
See if you can get it. You're going to have to read the numbers on there.
I'm going to do that thing.
It's the most annoying thing ever when they do that. Like, we're looking at this article, there's no paywall on it. We're like, yeah, this is a good article to talk about, some pretty good perspectives on this. And then after a while, it just throws up the paywall. It's like, I hope you're done reading that one.
When you stay there.
Not a speed reader, are you?
Okay, I did the thing, Ray. Here, hold on. I can't send this to you, but I'll read through the article. I did the thing.
Okay, yeah. Tell me the numbers, Dan.
By the way, you guys all know, right? Go to the article. The paywall does not immediately pop up. Hit
I got it.
Control A for all, Control C for copy, paste it into Word. Boom, you have the article.
Yeah, I just got it actually. It just worked on me.
Oh, you got it?
Oh, yeah, but it's like a line by line. No, that didn't work for me this time. All right, you go ahead. You go ahead. Mine didn't work. Mine got the I got the menu bar copied and pasted. But go ahead.
Sorry, that Mac was a little too slow, Mike.
I got that site map is what I got.
Yeah. So in June, Fed Chair Jerome Powell told reporters that the overheated U.S. housing market, which saw U.S. home prices rise over 40% in just over 2 years, needed a quote-unquote reset. Right, that's the reason for everything they're doing now with inflation and with higher interest rates. Higher mortgage rates, he said, would slowly bring quote-unquote balance back to the market. This is a quote from the man himself. We saw home prices moving up very, very strongly for the last couple of years. So that changes now. He put his foot down. I'd say if you are a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset. We need to get back to a place where supply and demand are back together. Now,
yeah, that's cool. I mean, I love when people try to do price controls, and that's great for a market.
Well, especially someone that's so disconnected. I mean, I'm not going to go down into politics, but most politicians are so disconnected from what the average home buyer is actually thinking and actually needing and actually wanting. And by the way, home sellers, because there's no home seller credits out there. It's just like, this is what you guys need. You need a reset. Okay, cool. Thanks. How about you? How about you just help me out? Stop telling me what I need. But that would mean that home prices would fall. And that's what they're trying to get them to do. Now, according to the latest Case-Shiller report published on Tuesday, U.S. home prices fell another. Ray, give me some exciting music real quick.
Exciting music? Okay.
Anything will work.
Well, all right, this will work.
Dramatic.
Wait. You have to let it build, okay? So we'll build it. We'll build it in. And you have to wait. Let's wait till the beat drops. So maybe you could read a little bit of it as we build it.
So according to the latest Case-Shiller report published on Tuesday, U.S. home prices fell another 8%.
What?
0.8%. 0.8% in September.
Yeah, we'll probably, I don't know, we'll probably get a strike on that one, but
it's only in Russian, so who cares? So let me read that without the exciting music. According to the latest Case-Shiller report published on Tuesday, U.S. home prices fell another 0.8% in September. That marks the third consecutive month home prices declined since Powell's June statement. Prior to 2020, the seasonally adjusted Case-Shiller National Home Price Index hadn't published a month-over-month decline since the housing crash bottomed out in 2012. So this is where they get their number from, including that 2007 and 2008 to 2012 drop. This latest Case-Shiller report, which found a 2.2% price decline in U.S. homes since June, so 4 or 5 months, means we've moved into the second biggest home price correction of the post-World War II era. On paper, it's tied to the 2.2% drop between May 1990 and April 1991. However, given that the index is a 3-month average, we know the October numbers will surpass that mark. That said, it's still far below the 26% peak through decline that occurred between 2007 and 2012. So they are comparing a 26% drop over that 5-year period to a 2.2% drop in the last 3 months.
This is,
I mean,
did you guys follow that? Say it again. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Okay, here. I'm going to go back to the top real quick.
The drop that they're talking about, that's the worst since the post-World War II era. All right, that drop was how much?
Well, hold on, Ray. Hold on real quick. Let me go back because I don't want to stun you guys. I want you to be sent. According to the latest Case-Shiller report published on Tuesday, home prices fell another 0.8% in September.
Huge.
But, Ray, when you add them all together, you get a total of 2.2%.
Ginormous.
After being up 40%. So, I mean, that headline, though, Fed's housing market reset has officially set off the second biggest home price correction of the post-World War II era.
So honestly, this is kind of why we don't report on stuff that Business Insider does, because
it's just 2.2%.
Yeah, it's just a tabloid. Fortune is traditionally better than this.
Yeah.
But that is a pretty incendiary headline for not much actual news. So the reason why, somebody messaged me the other day and they were like, hey, I was listening to your podcast and you covered this story and you then pretty much poo-pooed the story in the article. Why did you, they didn't say that, they said a different word, but they were like, why did you cover it? Because your clients are going to see it and ask you about it. And if your clients see it and ask you about it, and they're like, hey, this is the worst market since the World War II era, it's just not accurate. And you should have all of this knowledge. You should have this background, and you should be able to wax poetic on what the guy actually put in the article so that you can then counsel your clients on what the best options are for their investment and if they want to make a move or not. Think about it. People may read this headline and not make a move for their family that's better for their family based on what this headline says and not a complete understanding of what's in the article.
That's the reason we do the show. That's literally it right there. Because this is so incendiary. And we see this all the time. Yeah. I would say 99 out of 100 headlines we read, every now and then we read one, we go,
that's accurate.
That's good info.
It's so rare.
And it's very, I don't actually, not even, it's probably more like 999,000 times out of a million. I think I can remember the last time where we went, this is a well-balanced article. Like, this is cool. And it was probably in 2018.
Well, think about this, Dan.
Okay.
If a lot of people bought something on Friday and Monday, right, of this last week, why?
Yeah.
Why did they buy stuff on Friday and Monday? What happened?
Deals.
deals, right?
Yeah, Black Friday, Cyber
Black
Monday.
Friday, Cyber Monday. There were price drops. People were running into the market to buy these consumer goods. Now, how much do those consumer goods improve in value over time, Dan? If I had to say, okay, there's a TV that's normally $3,000 that is now marked on Black Friday, 50% off. It's $1,500 large screen TV. You buy that, you hold it for a couple of years, and then resell it. What's going to be the resale value of that TV, Dan?
Less than, and I know exactly where you're going, but less than the 50% off you already got.
That's interesting. So that's probably not a great investment, right? Now let's say, Dan, that there was a product that people aren't making any more of, right? You can't possibly make more of it.
Okay.
And it's had a great run, but it suddenly is starting to go on sale. Yeah. What do you think a wise investor would do in that situation?
They'd probably be a little more interested in it.
Right. You'd think they would flock to the market and buy up as much as possible?
Yeah.
Well, apparently, exactly the opposite is happening. So this article comes to us from CNBC. It says investors' home purchases drop 30% as price increases slow down.
That's great. Okay. If it said 12%, I'd go, okay, I can kind of see that. This is 30%. So I want to know Clubhouse, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the cliff. I want to know what
are you seeing?
What are you seeing? Is it this 30%? Do you never work with realtors or with investors anyway?
Or are you suddenly working with a bunch of investors? So investors' home purchase dropped 30% in the third quarter of this year compared with the same period last year, according to real estate brokerage Redfin. That's the biggest drop in investor sales since the Great Recession over a decade ago, with the exception of a brief stall in the first 2 months of COVID-19 pandemic. The drop in investor sales outpaced the drop in overall home purchases, which were down roughly 27%. The investor share of the market also fell 17.5% of all sales from 18.2% a year ago. The share is still, however, slightly higher than the 15% share seen before the pandemic.
Wait, what? So it's still higher than 2 years ago, than 2.5 years ago.
No, Dan. Investors' home purchases dropped 30%.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
They're down 30%. By the way, it's still way higher than the 15% before the pandemic.
And not a small sampling. This is more than 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. And when you think about, all right, so let's do the maths. Okay. Investor share of the overall market fell to 17.5%, right? Of all sales,
that's a big
from 18.2%. So, okay. So, and just so you know, 17.5% is still 2.5% higher than the share of investors pre-pandy, before the giant uptick. It's still higher than that.
Well, I would imagine because a lot of investors are cash. They don't have to deal with interest rates. They don't care about interest rates.
Yeah. Well, you would think that, okay, so let's think about this. In a market where most buyers are pulling out because of volatility and they're a little bit nervous about what's happening with interest rates, and they can't really afford the $250,000 house anymore because they're looking at a 7.5% interest rate or 7% interest rate. And they're like, whoa, I don't want to pay money for a $250,000 house with a 7% interest rate. I should have bought this $250,000 house last year. Now, Dan, what would they have had to pay for that $250,000 house last year?
Well, less than 250. And actually, let's say it was more.
Last year. A $250,000 house. What was it going for?
It's now $250,000 now.
No. Similar price range, right? They're only pre-approved for $250,000. They were looking last year. They decided not to buy. Why they decided not to buy? Because of competition.
Right.
So last year, they'd put an offer in on $250,000. They'd probably have to pay $275,000.
Okay.
Right.
But at a 3.1 interest rate.
Right. Super cheap interest rate, but paying way more for the house up front.
But now over the last year, the houses have gone up.
Yeah, they've gone up in value. So the home that was last year, $250,000 is now, let's say $280,000, but they're still pre-approved for $250,000. because their incomes haven't changed much. And now they're like, well, I don't want to buy at 250 because my interest rate is 7%, but they could actually go in at probably 245, get some closing costs paid.
Yeah.
They're not having to pay the ridiculous $275,000 price. So so investors, from what I have been experiencing, have been flocking to the market right now. And we're getting a huge percentage of investors coming into the market saying, now's the time to buy. We've got 6 months where other buyers don't know what to do. We're going to take advantage of it. Buy as much as possible. You've got inventory lingering on the market. You've got sellers that have to move. Not enough buyers are in the market right now. This is what an investor told me. So we are buying up as much as possible right now.
Yeah. And you can either buy it, flip it, or buy it and hold it and rent it out. Rents are still, even though they're coming down a little bit, they're still high. Adam
Johnson said year over year, no increase. So 250 last year is still about 250. That's not true. We've seen the year over year increase of about 10%. But what I'm saying is the home that you could have bought for 250 last year, you would have had to pay 275 last year because of the market conditions and what was happening.
But if it's still listed at 250 this year, now they can maybe
if it's still listed after a year, you're going to go into like 230.
No. Sorry. I mean, same house, but a year later, if it's listed at 250, now maybe you can get it at 250 and get all your closing costs covered, or
correct,
get your rate bought down, whatever.
Right. So, and more than likely though, it would look at comps in the neighborhood, and that lender's or that agent's going to look at comps and say all the 3 other homes that sold at 275, the market's changed a little bit. So you should probably list it at 265. And that's where it would sell. But anyway, I digress. Back to the article. Home prices are still higher compared with a year ago, but the annual gains are shrinking at an unprecedented rate. The S&P CoreLogic Jay Schiller said home price index was up 13% in August, which is the most recent reading, but that was down from a 15.6% annual gain in July. So again, they're still up. This says about 13%. I just quoted about 10%. Okay. Let's go to affordability. Sorry, I'm doing too many things here. Here we go. Millennials still shut out of the housing market? With all the changes and everything that's been happening in housing, you would think that millennials would finally have an opportunity here, especially as other buyers backed out. But according to this article, that's not happening. So this comes to us from the Washington Post. Millennials saw the largest increases in home ownership of their lifetime between 2019 and 2021. According to Washington Post analysis of the Census Bureau data, pandy relief and historically low mortgage rates helped millions of millennials buy homes for the first time, as droves of younger people entered the housing market at a median age of the home buyers dropped for the first time in nearly a decade. But now older home buyers are dominating the housing market. I do want to share this so that you guys can see a very interesting graphic here.
Part of the silver wave that's going to happen.
It is waving. There it is. So in 2021, you saw a dip in the average age of a purchaser for the first time in 9 years. And then look what's happened in 2022.
Yeah. Wow.
The average age is now 53. It was what is that? 40 something? I can't tell on their graph, but I'm going to say about 45. And now it's at 53.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's skyrocket. That's a huge change. It happened again around 2010. You saw another jump from the average age being 40 to the average age being around 45. Then it dropped a little bit and it kind of wiggled its way up back to looks like 47, 48, and then back down to 45.
Last 20 plus years, it's gone up about 15 years is the average or the average age of a purchaser. That's interesting.
Yeah. Millennials less likely to own their homes. A percent of each generation living in a home owned by themselves, their spouse, or their partner at each age group. The silent generation, born from 1928 to 1945, and baby boomers are still the top. It's really interesting. 27% of millennials born 1981 through 1996 lived in a home they or their partner owned at age 25 or 34, compared with 40% more in the previous generations.
Huh.
More lived with their parent, and way more rented. Look at that rent number. So millennials more likely to live with parents or rent after the age 24.
There it is. Live with their parents.
Yeah, live with their parents. That has gone down, but then rent, that's gone way up. Conversely, maybe they'll have a steeper drop. I don't know. This will be interesting to see what happens over time.
I want to stat around moved into a van and toured the country. That's what I want to see, like into a legit built out van and just drive around the country and share it on Instagram. I want to know
that is such a flex right now, that especially if you're an Instagram.
I know. I'm a huge fan of it, but the influencer culture behind it is really dumb.
Look, Christina Smallhorn said, that's my game, affordability. She's here. Daniels. What's up? She said the silver tsunami isn't going to happen like they promised.
I'm still committed to the silver wave. I'm still committed to the silver tsunami. By the way, Eric agrees. There you go. Millennials flocking to RVs like never before.
Yeah. RVs and conversion vans and vehicles.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's another graph on here that I want to share.
And Adam says right there, plus older people are okay with 6.5 interest rates. That when they bought in the 80s, it was 13%, 18%, whatever.
That's a strong point. Point.
He always has good points.
Good points.
Interesting.
Okay, so I've got 10 minutes. Let me check the articles that we have left here.
I think
we can make it. I think we can make it.
Not with all of them. I think we need to just, Airbnb launched the thing. Oh, no. You want to do a thing? Let's do a 2-second article. Ready? Let's just try something new.
All right.
What's Airbnb up to?
I don't know, Dan. What is Airbnb up to, Dan?
Airbnb launches platform allowing renters to host apartments, partnering with major landlords. Ray, what's going on with NAR?
Interesting. You should ask, Dan. The National Association of Realtors say that the HUD flood insurance change is a victory for consumer choice. Now, this I really do like. And you guys can go back and look at the Airbnb. It's not that huge of a story. They're just opening 4 apartments.
It's kind of cool though. So go check that is on. Sorry, go check it out. That's on Wall Street Journal. That's and CNBC. Anyway,
yeah, I'll drop it. I tell you what, I'll drop it. Let me drop the link to the Airbnb article. The one that's guaranteed not behind a paywall is on CNBC. So I'm going to drop a link to that into.
I don't know how it necessarily helps agents, but it might help some of your clients or past clients out there. You can give value to them.
Okay. Well, let's talk about NAR. So there's a flood insurance rule. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but in order for somebody to give an FHA loan to buy a home that required flood insurance, you had to get it from the government, basically. And I'm not sure if it was government approved vendors or if it was straight government. But now you'll be able to get it from a private insurer. So I guess it was a government backed insurance of some sort.
That's a good thing.
Usually what we would see is if somebody had a conventional mortgage, they would get it from a private insurer and it was like 1/3 of the price or 1/4 of the price. But if you had an FHA loan, you had to get it from these other insurers and it was 4 times the price, and it would kick someone's payment out of balance so that they then couldn't afford the home because their debt to income, what they could apply to their debt was
if their ratios were close, it would send their ratios off. Yeah.
Right. So now this allows an FHA buyer to use a private insurance company for the flood, which is going to save them money in the long run, make the whole market more competitive. And this article is on the National Association of Realtors magazine.realtor. You can find it there. It says more homeowners in flood zones will soon have expanded options for flood insurance, potentially lowering the cost dramatically. Starting December 21st, those with mortgage backed by the Federal Housing Agency, FHA loan, can get flood policies through private insurers. Previously, FHA home buyers were required to have flood insurance for their property with a FEMA designated flood area, had to obtain insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program.
Yeah, I remember when we covered that, it was like no matter where you're at, you have to get flood insurance. Like, wait, how is this going to help anyone?
Well, that's what we were looking at is the flood risk due to.
There you go. It was flood risk.
Yeah, it was due to the climate change. They were adding flood risk scores and then requiring flood insurance for areas that had.
Ray, remember those flood risk scores were based on solely. Now,
yeah,
I don't think they shouldn't look at climate change and things change. I don't think they shouldn't look at that, but they were basing it solely not on that and not on historically speaking. Go back 5 years, go back 100 years, go back They just weren't. They were like, your flood risk score is now 73, which is in the danger zone, and you have to pay this amount.
Yeah, and they weren't looking back and saying you're in a 500-year floodplain. They would say, hey, you may not be in a floodplain, but where we think this is going with climate change, you will be in a flood area in the future, so you're going to have to start paying now.
Based on some really smart people that have been crunching numbers, you have to give us more money. Thanks.
Yeah. Adam Johnson says 1252. Yep, we're getting there. We only have one more article to cover, so now I feel like we have all the time in the world.
Let's go.
And this, I think a lot of people should get excited about, especially members of the National Association of Realtors, those that have really bought into the game. This is key for the brand.
He has to be acting sarcastically right now, right, guys? He has to be being sarcastic.
You don't think this is a big? This is where it's at. It's not in a new logo. It's not. No, it's not in a ad campaign.
$1,000 logo.
Right. It's not in a Realtor ad campaign.
A goofy commercial ad campaign, which I love, by the way.
It's not in a new Realtor ad campaign about this is who we are. No.
We're going on the road.
This is what's going to do it. Riding with the brand.
So between this and not being able to say handicapped anymore, man.
Oh yeah. If you did not watch the show 2 weeks ago, as a realtor, don't say handicapped or handicapable.
You have to say
disabled,
which is so negative. But yeah, Tim makes a great point. Every single client he's helped, which is a very large number, every one of them has always checked first. Yeah. If he's to make sure he's a realtor.
Are you a realtor? Yeah. I always get that question in the interviews. Now, I know you're in real estate, but are you a realtor? That's the question that they always ask.
But do you know who you are?
Now, Dan, not only can I say I am a realtor, but I can say, and I'm riding with the brand.
Oh my God.
It involves coordinated stops or affiliated events in each of the 50 states over next year. The tour launches November 29th in Philly, and its first stop will be in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wait, if it launches in Philly, then why isn't the first stop in Philly?
It's just where it launches. That's just where they set sail.
Are they literally like, hey, we're gonna meet in Philly and get in this bus and then drive to Atlantic City?
Right. We're not gonna do our first show. We're gonna get on the bus and then
that's where we're getting on the bus. Or is there like a launch party and then they go from there, like politicking?
Yeah, let's use our money for that and use it for not things like lobbying and things like helping us be better realtors or for coaching for realtors that better help our clients. Don't use it for that stuff. Use it for a launch party, for a brand tour.
You could call it. I mean, some would say it seems political, getting in a bus and touring the country.
Especially with climate change being a thing. And is it an electric bus?
I'm sure they're taking all necessary precautions to have
gas
green. I'm sure they're buying green credits to offset their emissions. But even so, like, I think this is probably the best move they can make in an environment where the real estate market is seemingly crashing. They could, and I'm only saying that because that's what the headlines say, they could spend their time doing something like, I don't know, a consumer-facing MLS that merges all the data and all the MLSs around the country together and allows listing agents to be featured on their listings across the country and to take consumer inquiries. They could do that, but I think riding with the brand is going to really put them out there.
It's so okay. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. This headline, riding with the brand, sounds so 1992.
No.
Like hanging with Mr. Cooper, riding with the brand. Like this is something that
you're misunderstanding.
Campaign that Nike would have put together in Michael Jordan's later years, riding with Jordan. Like
you're totally missing it, man. I mean, this is hip.
Riding. Wait, is it riding or riding?
They probably could have used you on the marketing words, but it is riding with the brand. Rallying realtors for riding with the brand. Join our fellow realtors on a journey like no other. A realtor pride will be swept across the nation, riding with the brand. United by our pride in the profession. Pride used to be a bad thing. It's not anymore.
Go down to win big. It says win big if you're following along.
Yes. Well, I think these bullet points are important to cover because this is really their kind of vision mission statement. Together we'll celebrate what it means to be realtor strong.
Okay.
They should do, you know what they should do? Like a little bracelet that says realtor strong.
Yeah. Forget like real causes. Make a bracelet
for realtors.
Realtor strong. Yeah. Forget real human suffering and real issues that are affecting marginalized people out there. Forget all that stuff.
Realtor greater than real issues.
Yes. That's realtor and then the greater than sign. Real issues. There you go.
Smallhorn says such a great way to use the deals we pay. Eric Daniel says I get a discount at Denny's, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Program. It was really funny. I checked the discount hotel program because I was traveling more, doing some speaking stuff. And I learned that if you just called the hotel and asked for the business rate, it was a better deal than the realtor discounts.
That they just had laying around for you because you called. No one.
I was like, I'm a realtor. And they're like, oh, you get a 5% discount on that. I'm like, awesome. Okay, that's wonderful. But what is your business rate? And they're like, oh, I think that's a better rate, actually. And they gave that to me instead.
So Eric Daniels, WWRD, what would realtors do?
Yeah, WWRD. That's great. We could do that right on the bracelet. WWRD.
So there you go.
Tim Macy said the motorcycle and the ride with pride. Can I get a bandana?
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude. Riding with the brand right across his forehead there.
Matt Lamar says PTR, which is pull to refresh, so that you can see Matt's new thing on new profile on Clubhouse.
Let's go to I learned something new today. I didn't know PTR was that. Thank you, Millennial Matt. I think he's
okay. So here's the bullet points, and because then I got to go. Deep community connections.
Boom.
Volunteer spirit. Relentless defense of property rights. Fierce commitment to excellence and the code of ethics. Isn't that something that you just feel like you should stand in front of a group of troops and say, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our deep community connections and volunteer spirit and relentless defense of property rights with a fierce commitment to the code of ethics. And that's really a rallying cry, I think.
Ask not what your association can do for you, but ask what you can do for your association.
There it is. Realtor pride. Hashtag. All right, so win big. Donate today for the Realtors Relief Foundation.
What? Say that again.
Win big.
Wait, stop there. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Win big.
Donate today.
Okay, say it one more time. Say it separately. Stop stringing them together.
Win big.
Okay, cool. I'm down. I want to win big. How do I win big?
Donate today to the Realtor Relief Foundation.
By giving up my money to donate to them that I already
of all the realtor foundations, the Realtor Relief Foundation is probably the best one to give to. But
sure, if you have to, because
our dues are not enough.
Adam has a great question. When is one of these national MLM virtual brokerages going to ditch the Realtor Association? My brokerage, as at most, still requires membership. Now, I think that's going to happen sooner than later. Maybe that's a prediction I'll make for next year, but I think that's going to happen because, as Tim sarcastically points out in his other comment, which was, where was it?
Motorcycle.
They make him pull out his National Association of Realtor card just to verify that he's a realtor. That's obviously sarcasm. No one ever asks if I'm a realtor. No one cares if I have a card in my pocket that is my DRE, my Department of Real Estate for California, but no one even ever asks for that.
You know what they do ask for though, Dan?
Yeah.
Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to do the breakdown. D Letter Rocks, DLU. What is my name? DLUDWIGROCKS. I had a little brain fart there. Just go follow me over on the Instagrams. Ray, where can they find you? Ray
Zorback. That's RAYZORBACK. Connect with me on Instagram. Send me a DM with the word gear in it, and you'll get my whole gear list so you can watch for deals through the holidays. So there you go. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Hey, and please take care of each other, and please check on your friends. A lot of people need it right now. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye, everybody.